There we go. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you everyone for inviting Zach and myself to join you today and share a bit about our programs. I would love just with a thumbs up reaction, how many of you are somewhat familiar with our programs? Okay. And it looks like there's a bunch of new folks too. So great. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And again, another thumbs up if you can see it okay. Great. All right. Let's see if I can get us started here. All right. Well, for those of you who somewhat know who we are, and those of you who don't know who we are, I'll share how the scholarships support our students, what to expect on the application, and how the students or the applicants can set themselves up to be a successful candidate. But first, a little bit about who we are. I do the scholarship outreach, and I also am part of the selection process for our candidates. I also do the help build the application and do the behind the scenes. If applicants have questions, or if you as an advisor have questions, you can reach out to me directly. So the Ford Family Foundation, we're a private nonprofit foundation. The headquarters is based in Roseburg, and we're the post-secondary success office, and we're based in Eugene. Our founders, Kenneth Ford and Hallie Ford, were visionary leaders, and they started Roseburg Lumber, which is now Roseburg Forest Products, and it's all across the country. They established a charitable foundation to give back to the people and the communities who helped build their successful company. This slide shows you our organization's values, and they are rooted in those that guided our founders throughout their lives, and their values that we utilize and help guide us in our scholar selection by recognizing student potential. Our scholars receive renewable awards of up to $40,000 a year based on cost of attendance, financial aid, and other scholarships and grants. What they tell us, however, is the scholarship is about more than just the money. So let me just share a short little video with you.
My name's Fernando Lira, and I am originally from a small coastal town called Brookings. My parents came from Mexico, and I grew up in that small community. I knew I wanted to go to college when I was fairly young. It was something that my parents always instilled in me. My parents didn't really know about the college life or what it entailed or why do we need this or how does this all get together. I applied to the Ford family because, financially it was going to be difficult. I learned about the Ford Family Scholarship from my career counselor through Trio and Aspire that we had in our high school. Her name's Val Cowan. I have nothing but amazing things to say about her. The scholarship has really set me up for success and changed my life by providing me really important opportunities for growth and development. It's a family, it's a community. It wasn't just the money. They love you as a person. And for me, everybody treats every Ford scholar as if they were their own child, grandchild, and it's just a really great community. They would email me, call me, reach out. They were always asking questions about, are you okay? How can we be of assistance? What can we do to help you? The advice that I'd give to a student that is considering pursuing the Ford scholarship is just getting involved and making an impact in your community that ultimately allows you to grow, but also allows your community to grow too. Without them, I don't know where I'd be. 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . . . . . 。 . 。 . . . 。 . . 。 . 。 . . 。 . 。
All right. Well, As Fernando shared, the Ford Family Scholarships are more than just the money. Our scholars receive renewable financial support of up to $40,000 a year, again, based on the cost of attendance at that college, the financial aid and other scholarships and awards. They also attend leadership and development conferences with other scholars. We have an amazing student supports team that Zach will share about. And once graduated, scholars can continue to be involved and connected through the Ford Family Alumni Network of over 6,000 members and growing. We do have 4 scholarship programs, and we serve residents of Oregon and Siskiyou County, California. Each program is structured a little differently and has different criteria, but all are focused on supporting motivated people completing their degrees. We have 3 need-based scholarship programs, and the scholarships were established to assist learners from all walks of life. So we have a Ford Scholars Program for high school seniors or recent high school graduates, Ford Transfer Scholars Program, and that's for community college students ready to transfer to a 4-year college. The Ford Opportunity Scholars Program, and that's for adult learners and parents of any age. We want the student to find the scholarship program that is the best fit. We also administer the Ford Sons and Daughters Scholarship Program. This is not a need-based program and is specifically for the eligible dependents of Roseburg Forest Products employees. So for this presentation, I'll go over the eligibility and application process for the 3 need-based scholarships for Oregon residents. Again, the scholarship programs have these things in requirements in common. And we'll talk specifically about Oregon for this particular presentation. So the student needs to be a resident living at least 12 months in Oregon. They do need to complete a financial aid application, and that's either the FAFSA or the ORSA. Undocumented students may also apply. No special recommendations are required. And while there is no minimum GPA requirement, we do want to see that there's academic promise and that students will be successful throughout their college. The scholarships are need-based, again, which means that they're for individuals for whom college would be financially out of reach. So here are some specifics to each of the programs. For the Ford Scholars Program, up to 130 new scholars are awarded annually. The applicant must be a graduating high school senior or a recent high school graduate. So perhaps they've taken a gap year, but they have not attended full-time in a 2- or 4-year college program. We know that some of the high school students have the opportunity to take college classes while still in high school, and that is acceptable because they're still a high school student. So the goal is to enroll in the fall of 2025 for this particular scholarship year, enroll full-time in the fall at a financial aid eligible public or private nonprofit college or university in Oregon. And the goal is to earn a bachelor degree. For the Ford Transfer Scholar Program, we award up to 25 new scholars for this program. They need to be under the age of 25 as of March 1st and be a current community college student in Oregon or recent community college graduate within the last academic year. Again, the goal is to enroll full-time in the fall of 2025 in a college or university that is federal financial aid eligible. And the goal is to earn a bachelor's degree with this particular program as well. And finally, the Ford Opportunity Scholars Program, we award up to 96 new awardees every year. So the requirements of this is a little bit different. They can be a parent of any age, and we highly encourage single parents to apply or be an adult learner over the age of 25 as of March 1st. The goal is is earning either an associate or a bachelor's degree. So if they're currently in a program, they must have at least one full academic year remaining in that program. Also, with this, you may already have students who are really in a community college and they're ready to transfer. Again, if they're either a parent of any age or an adult age 25 or over, they would actually apply to this program and not the transfer program. And they would just need to, if they're going for a bachelor's degree, it needs to be their first bachelor degree. So here's what to expect on the application, just a checklist, if you will. Again, the students will need to fill out and complete a financial aid application, either the FAFSA or the ORSA. They'll need to demonstrate significant financial barriers. And we will ask where the applicant attended high school and the name of the high school. For the Ford Transfer or Ford Opportunity applications, we will ask about college history because we know that there are students who have attended other colleges in the last 10 years. So we want them to list those colleges. Additionally, we will ask for a transcript. So if you have a student who is currently in high school, we're going to look for a transcript that will go through their junior year with all completed coursework and grades. And for students who are currently in college and they've also attended other colleges, we want those college transcripts within the last 10 years. And we also want a completed transcript of the current college they're attending through December of this year. These college transcripts and high school transcripts, they do not need to be official. They just need to have the student name, the institution name, and the completed coursework and grades on that transcript. And it's preferable to have a PDF and upload it, so it's really just 1 or 2 pages on that. We're going to ask about college plans, where they want to attend and what their career goals are. There's an activities section and a personal essay section. And we're going to ask about some insight into who makes up their household. So just briefly, there is an activities section, and it's going to be different, of course, for what high school students do than what maybe an adult student does. So there are 3 categories. You don't have to have activities in every category, but what we're really looking for are things that the applicant does outside of the classroom. What things they spend their time doing, what's meaningful, where they show leadership. That doesn't have to be in the traditional sense of leader, like a student government or team captain. It could be other forms like mentoring or leading a committee, working at an event and taking on a specific role. So we want them to focus on those things so that it gives us some insight into what they're doing. We have 3 short essays. They're only 150 words each. So it's important that the applicant review the question, what is being asked? We want them to write their best because the reviewers will expect that what they submit is their best and final draft. But before that, we certainly want them to proofread and also ask somebody else to give them feedback. So a mentor, a teacher, a trusted advisor, just to give them some insight. We also want the applicant to be authentic. We want them to tell us who they are and we don't want them to write what they think we want to hear, because essays offer opportunities to learn about that applicant, what's important to them, and what they care about, and some of their major accomplishments. So some quick tips. We don't want them to waste space on repeating the question because that will take up some of the 150 words. They can plan their answers on a separate document like Word, and they can get the actual questions on the apply page on our website. And once they're ready, they can just copy paste that into the application. So our application opens this year on December 1st. The FAFSA will also open on December 1st. So we say start both. They can go on our website to the scholarships and find the scholarship that is the best fit. So again, have them read it, make sure that that scholarship really is the one for them, because we're only going to accept one completed application. There will be an apply here link in our in-house application on December 1st, and it's run on a platform called Kaleidoscope. So they just need to make sure they read the instructions for each question, make sure they have the required documents uploaded, the financial aid report, the transcripts, make sure that's correct. They want to use the activities and personal statements to showcase what makes them unique. And then make sure that they proofread for accuracy and completeness. I mean, they've got some time, but we do want them to start it. We don't want them to wait to the very last minute to submit. I'll give you some deadlines in just a minute. And we also recommend that they save a copy of their application. And as an advisor, you can go ahead and on or after December 1st, you can also try out the application. There's a part in the application that will ask you if you're testing the application. So it's great. You don't need to complete it. It just is a way for you to get to know our application. Here's some important dates. Again, the application will open December 1st. The final date to submit it is March 3rd, 2025 by 5 p.m. We do have a selection process and an interview process. So immediately following the March 3rd application submission deadline, all eligible applications go through a competitive review process. And after that, the application pool is narrowed. Then there are some finalists that are selected and notified with a date and time for a virtual interview via Zoom. And we send all this information out by email. So we want the folks who have been invited to prepare for the interview, make sure that they go back and get a copy of the saved application. Be prepared to discuss their college plan, their goal, their career aspirations. Maybe they have the opportunity to do a practice interview with you. What's really important is that if they receive our email, is to confirm the interview acceptance and to respond to any incoming email from the Ford Family Foundation. And final decisions will be sent to finalists and awardees by email as well. Oftentimes we are asked, is there a template or who are we looking for as scholars? So we have over 6,000 folks who have had been awarded the scholarship, and at any given time we have 1,000 current students that we are supporting. So everyone's going to be different, but we see that there's some of these common attributes, and that's academic potential, the ability to be successful in college, their engagement and service to others, how are they contributing to their family or community, and how do they impact others, their work ethic, how they demonstrate responsibility and initiative through paid and unpaid experiences, and their motivation and their mindset. The belief in success comes from one's ability to grow and learn and rise to challenges. So now I'm going to give this over to my colleague, Zach.
Thanks, Carolyn. Hello, Oregon Trio teammates. It's great to see y'all on the call. I see faces that I recognize from when I worked in Trio. I see names I recognize, and it's just great that y'all are here, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I am a student success counselor here with the foundation, and there are two hats that I wear. One of them is I work day in and day out with our current scholars to support them on their journeys. And then another hat I wear is I lead a team of folks that engage our scholars from their selection and awarding all the way through their graduation and becoming alumni of our programs. And so what I'm going to talk about are just some of the supports that we have for our scholars while they're in our programs. And next slide, Carolyn. So a couple of years ago, we sat down as a foundation and in our post-secondary success team, and we asked, what are the things that our scholars need to succeed in school? And we realized that we hadn't ever really surveyed scholars. And so we took some time to really look at scholar voice. What are the needs that they have? It was the pandemic, and what came out of these conversations and noticing of the supports that we were providing in the past, and then with this scholar voice being centered, is that we created this student well-being model that really is a holistic system of supports that really encapsulates the work that we do to support our scholars. And we call it our North Star. I also like to think, and in some versions of this well-being model, that there is another concentric circle around the outside of foundation supports that is institutional supports, and that oftentimes we're working hand in hand with our partners on the TRIO side, other offices like financial aid, basic needs to support our scholars on their journeys. So let me dive a little bit more into each wedge within this well-being model. So next slide, Carolyn. So mental health, all of our scholars receive free access to mental health counseling. We partner with BetterHelp, and so they have free sessions. They can get up to 4 sessions a month, so weekly therapy access through BetterHelp. We also, from time to time, will send proactive communications to assess student mental health, and we'll put on occasional programming on mental health, self-care, and well-being practices. Next slide. Personal growth and learning. We have professional development opportunities for our scholars. We host several events throughout the year. For example, our summer leadership conference for our Ford scholars out of Sun River, and we'll bring in world-renowned speakers and have workshops on a variety of different student success topics, such as financial literacy, career development. We'll bring in our alumni to network with our scholars and really leverage that social capital. We just did our enrichment conference this last weekend in Eugene, and that's for our Ford Opportunity and Ford Transfer Scholars. And we brought in Justin Jones-Fossud to lead a workshop on helping scholars identify their why and why does their why matter now. And in addition to that, we also do yearly recognition conferences where we recognize the incoming class that was just selected, and then recognize the accomplishments of the outgoing scholars that are 4 years ahead of them. And that is a tradition that has been longstanding in the programs, and scholars look forward to that moment where they get to walk across the stage and be recognized for their accomplishments after they graduate. Next slide. Financial empowerment. We're always looking as a scholarship provider, of course, financial literacy is bread and butter of some of the stuff that we're supporting our scholars with. And so we'll bring in folks to talk about financial literacy at our conferences. We've been recently partnering with OSU Cafe. That's the Center for Advancing Financial Education. If you hadn't heard of OSU Cafe, I'm a big fan. You can see our colleague Zane here with his camera on nodding as well, that we're always looking for partners to help support our scholars with financial literacy and building that knowledge. And then with that, There are a lot of nuts and bolts of determining a scholarship award calculation, and we're constantly getting questions from scholars about their award amounts, and those are opportunities for them to network with Zane Stevens and Jessica Lynch in our offices, who are a program associate for scholarship awards, and they work day in and day out with their scholars and with financial aid offices to handle the money side, the awarding side of the equation, and so they're helping students build that financial aid knowledge as well. And then all of that's within the spirit of destigmatizing asking for financial guidance. Next slide. Academic support, very similar to a lot of TRIO programs at the college level. What we're doing is supplementary, in that we're oftentimes making sure that students get referred to their campus advising centers to get supports. And so a lot of what I do in my role is just reviewing their education plans, especially as they're thinking about maybe getting an extension of funding request to receive additional funding to complete their degrees, and a variety of other things. So students will come to us if they need advice and support, and we're also working hand in hand with advising partners at their campuses to make sure they're referred to the experts that can support them on that part of the journey. But a big piece of the puzzle beyond just education planning is also talking about graduate school preparation. As some of you may or may not know, we do offer graduate school funding opportunities for need-based programs at the Ford Scholar, Ford Transfer Scholar, and Ford Opportunity Scholar programs. And so we'll have students connect with us to talk about their graduate school plans and whatnot. And we're often also working with campus partners in that space as well, like TRIO. Next slide. Security and basic needs. Well, we don't provide, that's a common question I've gotten even twice today. Do we provide emergency funding for our scholars? Not officially, but one of the ways that we can work with scholars to support them with additional funding on top of what they're already receiving from us, along with their Pell Grants, Oregon Opportunity Grants, institutional scholarships, and whatnot, are cost of attendance adjustments. And so we can work with the scholar, say there's a mechanical issue with their vehicle, it breaks down and they need repair costs. We can work between the financial aid office at the institution they're at, our team here at the foundation, to see if they're eligible for a cost of attendance increase that would allow us to send more funds. In addition to that, we're always building relationships, and that's why I wanted to jump on the call today to say hi to y'all. And we're always looking at ways to refer our scholars to additional resources like TRIO, EOP, resources on their campuses, and then collaborating with basic needs navigators, really anyone that can support our scholars, we want to be connected with and be able to refer our students to. Next slide, Carolyn.
Zach,
And
Linda
then-
had a question.
Uh-oh, got a question. What you got, Linda?
So Zach, I have a question, and it came about regarding one of our board scholars just a couple weeks ago. So regarding cost of attendance, and if something happens, right, should we have them reach out to the financial aid person who is that Ford Scholar partner versus sending the student to, let's say, you? Is that how you would like that process to go?
I
Is
would
that
say it can be both. And then Zane, I'm kind of looking at you a little bit, because Zane is one of the folks. He's not the program associate that supports our PSU scholars, but oftentimes it's hand in hand. We're working with the financial aid office, and then Zane and Jessica in our office are working from the Ford side. Does that capture it, Zane? You got any guidance on this?
That's yeah, that's basically what I would say. If the student like ever has like any financial questions, like if it's more specific to like, oh, this is actually a question that should go to the financial aid office at the school, we'll just tell the student, like, if it's something that we can answer, we'll answer it. But if it's like, this is actually something you should work with the school, or same thing like a cost of attendance, like you had mentioned, if they were approved for a cost of attendance increase, we'll get all that information from our point person in the financial aid office at the school. it doesn't hurt for the student to be like, hey, I've had my cost of attendance increase for a computer. But we're going to get that information from the financial aid office. So doesn't hurt, but not required.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, Linda. Yes, in addition to the financial supports, academic supports, all the other supports, we also do career and professional development, and we have a team member that's trained up in delivering the MBTI, Myers-Briggs inventory assessment, and then we provide career counseling supports, alumni connections. And then a big part of our strategy is also making sure that they're connected with the career services offices at their institutions as well. And so very similar to the trio space, we're referring constantly. And that is part of the strategy. And I think that hits on all of the wedges of the student support, the student well-being model. And I'm gonna turn it back to you, Carolyn. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Zach. And thank you, Zane. We hope this information has been helpful. And if you have questions, you can reach out to us. And I'll put information in the chat as well, but I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and see if there are additional questions that you might have for us.
Thank you so much, you two. One question I have, do you have a presentation that you do like this that's student facing to help them prepare for the scholarships, in addition to what TRIO would try and do for their students directly?
Oh, great question. Yes, I do them both in person and virtually. I will do them by, some places have classes specifically that they invite me to be part of their class, or I'll do a virtual workshop with them, or in person, depending on where it is and what time in the fall or early spring. So yes, I will have some live virtual webinars also, and I'll get some information on here, but it's on our calendar and people can pre-register, and so long as they're registered, and if they are not able to attend, then they'll get a link to the recording.
Thank you. That's great news.
As far as that goes, so if I was to have, depending on the times of the live webinar, have it in my TRIO classroom, would the individual participants need to register, or would I just register once and then we'd have it where they could all see it?
Yeah, you could just register once. The other great thing is that because it's live, we'll also have some current scholars and or alumni share their journey, similar to what we had Fernando do. But there's the opportunity for Q&A as well. So, if they can come in live and watch, that's great. And if not, then they'll get the recording. But yeah, I would encourage anybody and everyone to at least register.
Linda.
I was just going to say, similar to that, Carolyn, we have a good number of Word Scholars in our TRIO program at Portland State. And I just connect our current Word Scholars with students who are interested in applying for this, applying for the scholarship, where I think some of the students just feel more comfortable doing like a one-on-one. So I've had some students found it very helpful just to be able to talk to someone just off to the side and just say, can you read my application? What kind of questions do they ask during the interview? So, and I think one of the ones who applied last year actually got it for this year.
Great. Yeah, they can reach out to us, and even while they're doing the application, there is an app questions at tfff.org. And so they'll see it on every screen of the online application. And if they have a question during filling out something, they can send that. will answer it during regular business hours. It's usually myself or my colleague Catherine that answers those questions, and we're pretty quick to make that turnaround. And that's the other nice thing about having our own application, is that we do a lot of outreach to the applicants. So we can see when they started their draft, and if they haven't done anything for several weeks, we'll give them a gentle nudge to continue working on it. And the other part of it is starting the application. It's really quick. Of course, it's the activities and the personal essays that probably take them the longest. And also they can start that and start their financial aid application. And once they get the submission summary report as a result of a completed financial aid application, then we just want a copy and a PDF, because it's usually sent by email. They just create a PDF of that submission summary with their student aid index and then upload that to the application, because they won't be able to submit until they have a completed application and the correct transcripts.
In the chat, I just put in a link to our Oregon Trio pipeline that lists all the SSS programs in the state. And I'm sure Zach already knows about this, but for the other Ford colleagues to know, just as you're getting your new scholars, if you are trying to connect them with Trio programs in the state, that this lists directly to those Trio programs for the application, as well as links to disability resources in case they're needing to set up accommodation. So just so you all have access to that link as well.
Fantastic, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to give a big thank you to Trio folks in the room at the University SSS for sharing data both ways. I appreciate that and updating notes. It's been really, really great to build out those relationships and know that if we've got a student that is experiencing a barrier, that if they're already connected to Trio, we can relay information that we know. All of our scholars to fill out FAFSA FERPA releases to try to ease the FERPA restrictions on the institutional side. But that's been really great to connect with Trio folks on that. And if you're ever wanting to send me an updated list of your scholars, or have me send a list from my side of who's a scholar at your institution, it takes me 5 minutes to pull the report and send it your way. If you're needing to meet numbers or anything at all, so I appreciate that.
That would be great if we had some sort of formalized, like at a certain time, like maybe once you figure them out or where they're going, that we make those connections. And I'm happy with OTA to help in that. Sounds like it's pretty easy and you don't need my help in that, but we're happy to help if needed.
Absolutely. We're still figuring out the cadence on the student support side of when we refer. We know who our scholars are, our newly awarded ones, by the end of May. And I know recruitment for SSS programs is well underway by that point for the next cohort year. But I would love a vision where we continue to have more of our scholars that are in Trio programs where they're eligible, and really the demographics of our scholar population really match well with that. And the last number I pulled yesterday was about 73% of our current scholars are first gen. Yeah.
I love strengthening this connection. What other questions do people have that are here? Is anybody planning on inviting the Ford Family Foundation in to do a workshop or to their scholarship class or anything like that this fall or spring, winter?
I'll put my email in should you have some additional questions.
We would
Wonderful,
love to,
thank you.
we would love to have you come out to Illinois Valley High School in Cave Junction. So we'll be in touch with you. That would be wonderful.
yeah, go ahead and just send me an email and I'll see what we can do.
And even if it worked better for you to do a virtual one, we could bring students into our College and Career Center. I just think that would be, yeah, it would be wonderful.
Yeah, and that would be great. It typically is myself, and I'm a department of one, but I have an amazing group of alumni ambassadors. That if they are in the region and area, I reach out to them and see if they're available to help as well.
Well, and that's what I was thinking, is that if we could plan, we have some of our alumni, well, that are Ford Scholars will be coming back for Christmas break. So I was even thinking, they're still on vacation before we go back. So we might be able to have some of them also come and talk, because they will be in town, and to kind of share their experiences and things
Oh,
too.
that'd be great, yeah.
Does the Ford Family Foundation have a sense of their alumni that have also participated in a TRIO program? Is that anything you were tracking?
Not yet.
Okay.
Um, yeah, mine is immediately going to how I could capture that. We know, of course, who the alumni are. Unless offhand we could see, I mean, I'm spitballing here, my mind's racing. We could identify that at the selection stage, just because if they put TRIO in their application, we all know not all of them do, unfortunately, but we could capture it that way. And we could also capture it on their scholarship renewal form. Some of them will list, I'm involved in TRIO, and that's an easy way as well. I'm sure there could be a project, especially if a particular program, or if you wanted to speak on behalf of all programs, Robin, I'm sure there could be follow-up meetings to identify that. And I could loop in our brand new alumni engagement coordinator, Christy Boyder, into those conversations if we wanted to do a deeper dive, especially if that could be really beneficial to TRIO programs to get a sense of who is a Ford Scholar and where we could leverage those relationships for future work. Definitely game for it.
Sounds like a fun project for us.
Yeah. Y'all look tired. The APR must have dropped for somebody.
Way to rub it in, Zach. Do you miss that as much as I do, Zach? No.
I will not say anything. I don't miss tracking down signatures from designated certifying officials. Yeah.
Well, if
We're
that's
doing
the
it all
hardest part, then
electronically
that's
now,
good.
Zach. No more tracking down. They just get an email.
No more pieces of paper. It's finally happening. Okay, well, thank you so much. It doesn't seem like anyone else has any questions at this point, but we did record this so that we'll send this out so that all of your colleagues can hear about all this great work and opportunities for our students. And then it'll also be on the OTA YouTube, so you can always find it in the future there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. And